Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, back with another action-packed session. How do I invest in real estate using 100% OPM, other people's money? I don't want to put like a dime of my own money into this project. How do I get a deal done? I'm going to break that down for you guys on this live session. So make sure you stick around to the end, or you can miss out on this game-changing info. This is definitely going to change the game for a lot of you guys, especially if you're sitting there thinking, I just can't get started. I don't have the money saved. It's just not going to happen for me this year. This is a strategy that all of us can go out and start to implement. And you're going to learn about a new type of lender that's out there that will give you money, no credit check. So you don't need credit, no doc checks. They don't need your tax returns. They don't need like any of that stuff. They just need to know that the deal is safe. And I'm going to show you how to structure a safe deal for them so that you can make this happen and get to the chicken, get to the money, right? So you can get out of the 9 to 5. If you're new to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. For everyone who leaves that comment, I'm going to send you instant access to my free real estate training. It'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer. And if you guys have questions, comments, leave them in the chat section, leave them in the comment section. Drop a comment. We'll reply to those even if you're watching the replay. But if you're watching it live, just ask your question live. We'll stop and answer some questions as we're going through this because some of the stuff could go over your head, right? This is new information. You may need to watch this a few times to let it sink in. So what are we dealing with when we're using OPM? And what types of deals are out there? Well, typically, for this strategy at least, when we're dealing with OPM, we want to bring big money, a deal that they feel is riskless. This is like a big part of it. Like they need to feel like, hey, all I'm going to do is move my money into this deal. I'm going to hand Brian over some money. He's going to execute on this deal. I'm going to make a profit going about my day, get my money back. And this transaction that we're going to show you, the lender actually gets paid in one day, like same day. They put the money out, they get their money back in one day. And they're getting about a 2% return. So think about it. If you could get a 2% return on your money in a day, in 50 days, you could double your money if you did a deal every day for 50 days. So this type of lending is very attractive for people who have capital, who want to invest in real estate, but in an alternative way. We actually have people that are in our Facebook group right now that do this type of lending, which is another reason why you guys should join the Facebook group and make sure you're networking within our 24/7 cash flow community. Because if you're networking there, you can actually get your hands on some of this capital and get a deal done. So let's walk you through part of the transaction. And I don't whiteboard all the time, so you guys are in for a bit of a treat. So what we're first starting off with is a distressed seller. Most creative financing deals, when you're dealing with OPM or you're leveraging the existing debt on the property, you're always starting off with a distressed property, which means a motivated seller. If you don't know how to get in front of motivated sellers, definitely tap into more of the content on the YouTube channel, tap into the mentorship program where we teach you how to get in front of motivated sellers. I literally was just talking to one of our mentees earlier today. He's 20 years old, I believe, and he's in front of like his third or fourth motivated seller. He actually hopped off the phone with me to go pitch the deal and try to get this deal under contract. So you have to learn how to get in front of motivated sellers. But we found a motivated seller who owns a distressed property, and we were able to negotiate with the seller to get this property under contract for $140,000. The after repair value, the ARV, is $310,000. Being able to create an ARV, to know what the after repair value is, that's a skill set that I call knowing how to think like an appraiser. This is something that we drill on. Like there are maybe 4 breakout sections on this in the 100 Keys Masterclass, our VIP mentorship program, because knowing how to think like an appraiser and determine value is the major key. It's like the master key to real estate investing. Once you know value, you can always work backwards into, hey, this is what offer I'm going to make. And then this is the spread, which is 170,000. So this is the next level is the spread. So we went to a motivated seller. They have a deal that if we renovate it, we put money into it, it's going to be worth $310,000. We got it under contract for $140,000. and that's $170,000 spread. Now, if this was a typical wholesale transaction, we would just put the property on a 30-day contract, slap down a 1K deposit, and we would wholesale it. We would assign it to someone else, right? We're wholesalers. But what's the problem with wholesaling right now? Well, a lot of municipalities are cracking down on wholesaling. Philadelphia is one of them. But there are a lot of different cities across the country where they're now creating new regulations for wholesalers. You have to be licensed. They want you to pay different fees. And it's almost like being an agent to a degree. You have annual filing fees, and you can't assign. There are also now title companies that won't handle assignments. There are different lenders that won't lend money if this is an assignment contract. So you have a lot going against you. You also have, let's say you want to buy a deal like this, a distressed property from the bank, which the bank is sitting on a ton of properties. One of our boots on the ground members, so I'm building a house for somebody. They're out in Texas. We just got them a property under contract in Philly from the bank. $150,000 duplex, 3,000 square feet, after repair value, $575,000. Big spread. What is that spread? That's like a $420,000, $25,000 spread from the bank. What if you wanted to do a deal like this with the bank with no money out of pocket? And we're going to get to how you can do this with no money. So make sure you're sticking around. You couldn't do it with the bank because the bank doesn't allow assignments. They don't allow wholesale deals on their distressed properties. So if you don't know this strategy I'm about to break down for you guys, you actually couldn't execute. So I know some of you are thinking, and I'm going to write here A to B, because this is an A to B transaction. A to B. And you need to remember that. This is the first transaction. Some of you are thinking, how am I going to get this 1,000? Well, you're going to get that 1K from another level of what we would call a transactional funder. So transactional funding. This is a phrase that you need to kind of drill into your memory. Transactional funding. Guys, if you have questions about anything, drop it in the comment section, drop it in the chat, and we'll address it. So there are people like me. If you called me and said, hey, Brian, I need a little bit of capital put down on a deal to lock it up for 30 days. Can you help me out with the deposit? And then when we go sell the deal, we'll split some of this profit. And I'll say, yeah, I'll give you the deposit, and I'll give you 1,000, you give me back 2,000 in 30 days when we close this deal. And that might work for you if it allows you to get the deal with no money out of pocket, because you're not even putting the deposit down. You're just pulling people in to the deal, right? So you can get this as part of transactional funding as well. You actually don't have to bring any money to the table into this deal. So where are you getting the money to close the A to B transaction? Where are you getting this 140,000? You're essentially broke. You have bad credit, right? So you can't go to the bank. You can't go to the lender with a 500 credit score and say, hey, I got this incredible deal. The spread's 170,000. I just need 140,000 to buy it. You can't do it. You can't do it. But you can go to somebody called a transactional lender for transactional funding, and they will give you the whole $140,000 to buy this deal in the A to B transaction. So what we're doing next, now that we have our partner, transactional funding partner, we have our deal, our motivated seller, our distressed property under contract for 140,000. You called me to get the 1,000. You said, BG, I need a G. Give me a G. Let me get into this deal. I got no credit. I can't get it. I don't got it, but I have the deal. Okay, we make it happen. We're on a 30-day contract. And I'm looking at the numbers and saying, look, they know how to think like an appraiser. They got the deal under contract at a good price. There's a nice spread. We can mark this thing up to $165,000 and sell it to a developer. And this is the B2C. This is how we're exiting with our profit. This is the B2C transaction. Both of these transactions are going to close in the same day, in a double closing. No assignment fees. We're not assigning the contract. We're not wholesaling it. We're doing a double closing. We're buying it and we're selling it in the same day. None of our own money on the line. So you go and we find a developer. This guy's running around Philly. He likes to build houses. We show him the numbers. We show him the spread. We know how much the property will cost to renovate. Why? Because we're in a 100 Keys Masterclass. And we know how to break down budgets and build construction and rehab budgets for these properties. So we know, hey, you can buy it from me for $165. You can put in about $55,000. You'll be in that $210, $220. It's worth $310. You can flip it and make some money. So the developer's like, I'm in. Let's do it. So he signs over on the contract for $165. And we have him plop down maybe a $5,000 deposit just to secure his position and to make this deal secure for the transactional lender. So when we go back to them, we have a dedicated buyer. He's a consistent developer. His financials are good. We had him put down $5,000 deposit. He's not going anywhere. And we're going to close next Friday. So we're now locked into the deal. We have it under contract with the motivated seller in the A to B transaction, and we're scheduled to close on Friday. And then we put that same deal under contract on the sales side with the developer at $165, and we're scheduled to close on Friday. None of our own money's in the deal. Right now, only my 1K is in the deal, right? So what is this transactional lender going to do? They're going to come in with $140,000. They're going to charge us 2%, typically 1 to 2% in fees. Why? Because that's how they eat. So they give us $140,000. They're going to make $2,800 in a day. That's good money, right? If you're sitting on capital and you don't want to take a lot of risk. But they're only going to buy this property. They're only going to close on the A to B transaction when the developer shows up to the closing table on Friday with $165,000, when that money gets wired in to the title company. Once that money is wired in to the title company, the $165,000 is there. They signed off on all the paperwork. They're ready to close. Our transactional lender is going to call the title company and say, hey, is the money in? Are we ready to close? Is everything looking good? Title company says, yeah. The end buyer, the C buyer, he's good to go. He's ready to buy it. All the money is in. All the docs are signed. All we need is for you to close on the A to B transaction to send us that wire. So they send in the 140. Boom. That money comes in. They send in the closing costs as well for the deal. And this deal closes. Same day, and essentially simultaneously, this deal closes. Because once we close on this, we are now free to then sell that property. We bought it as the B buyer, and then from B to C, we sold it to the developer. So we're this middleman. And our fee is the spread between the sale, $140,000, and what we're selling it to the developer for, $165,000. So that's a $25,000 spread. Now, how do we end up with $16,000 of profit? Well, we're paying the 2% fees on this money, on this 140, to the transactional funder. We're also paying double closing costs. Because we're not assigning this contract, we actually are closing on it twice. We're buying it and paying closing costs as the property transfers from the motivated seller to us. And then we're selling it as the property transfers from us to the developer. So it's 2x the closing costs. Closing costs on a deal like this is going to be 2% on each side. So that's another, 4%. We're going to call it all in $9,000 in fees. And I got to get my money back too. I got to get my G back plus 1,000. So it's about 9,000 in fees. So on this transaction, and you can watch this video again, you've structured this deal correctly. You've made the deal safe for the transactional funder by locking in the developer on a nice, strong security deposit, making sure that money is wired into the title company for the closing. All docs are signed before the transactional lender steps in and sends the money to close the A to B transaction. You put up no money, not even a $1,000 deposit. You certainly didn't bring $140,000. There was no credit check because the transactional funder does not care about your credit. This is not a loan in the sense that you're going to go out and do construction, or this is not a 30-year fixed loan. This is just money to get the deal closed. And they're looking for their 2% fee. So they're getting their money, they're happy. And they get their money same day. Same time you get paid your 16, that's after they get their fees back and their money back. So you've put up no money in this transaction, but you've brought people together. You've structured the deal so that it's safe. And you're going to walk away with $16,000. No cash, no credit, just knowledge. This is why knowledge is so important in this game. Knowledge is 90% of the real estate game. Some of us get caught up in our own personal situation. I don't have the credit. I don't have the cash. I'm trying to save my way. And your story. And I talk to a lot of you guys, and I understand it. I get being in a 9-to-5 at the dead end job. I've been there, literally. I was brokered than a lot of us, working 100% commission. So not even any salary, nothing to bank on. And in some ways I was paying money to work. So I was like paying to work every day. But you can get out of that rat race with the knowledge. How to get in front of motivated sellers, how to structure deals, how to leverage creative financing. This is just one tool that a lot of you haven't heard of. You didn't know there were people out there with big amounts of money. You could do this on a $500,000 deal, by the way. You could do this on $1 million project, by the way. And there are transactional lenders all across the nation that just sit there with buckets of money waiting for people with the knowledge. So the only question is, when are you going to go get the knowledge? When are you going to stop making those excuses about why now's not the time for you to tap into the knowledge, to the mentorship, to learn about this stuff? Because as soon as you get your hands on the knowledge and you start to implement the strategies, you can get to the chicken. And it doesn't take too many commission checks of $15,000, $16,000 or more, or a little less. Could be $5,000, $10,000 to start to work your way into financial freedom and get out of the 9-to-5. My man Easy E said, I'm in. And guys, I know this stuff is not the easiest to digest. Sometimes it can go over your head, but you can always watch this video again, right? I'm putting this out there so you guys can tap in to that knowledge. But this is the key. This is just one strategy. We actually, in the 100 Keys Masterclass, are teaching you 6 more core strategies of creative financing, where you can leverage the existing debt that's already on properties. You can take over properties with lease purchase options. You do not need cash or credit to invest in real estate. You need knowledge, you need experience. If you don't have it, go get it from mentorship. Get your hands on it. And then accelerate and get to the next deal and the next deal. So guys, I wanted to share that with you quickly so that you can master this technique. Definitely watch it again. Definitely reach out with questions. I want to open it up to Q&A, but I saved some questions from some of you guys that we've had from, over the past week or 2 weeks, because we will save some of these questions that you guys are texting me. And I'm getting, blown up by you guys all day. They're great questions, and asking good questions is the way to get a great answer and to accelerate. So I'm going to jump into some of these questions. If you guys have more questions, make sure you're dropping them in the chat, and we're going to keep flowing. Here's a question that I get relatively often. What are some things that I can do to keep my vacant property safe from break-ins? You should, and these are things you should always do as an investor. You should always, for your out-of-town properties, especially if you're investing out of town, but even if you're investing in like a C-class neighborhood, you're investing in the hood, sometimes people will break into your property in the A-class. So you really can't tell, because when people see your contractors going into houses and renovating your property, they know there are expensive tools in there and expensive materials. And other contractors will sit out, park their car, and scope out your project. And they'll wait to see your guys running in. I've known actually contractors that were they're so ridiculous with this stuff. They would sit there and scope out entire houses and steal enough materials, take them 2-3 blocks away, and full gut renovate a property with stolen materials. Like, they'll steal your toilet. They'll wait for you to put it in, come in, steal the toilet, steal the vanity, go put it in a property 3 blocks away, and then try to flip the house with the stolen goods. You have to get a few levels of things. One, you need security cameras. Like it's 2023. You got to have your security cameras. Get your internet set up. Get your Wise cams. Get your Home Depot has a line of cameras that you can go in there. They have a whole kit for, I believe it's about $400. Home Depot has a whole kit that you can put your hands on, put this stuff together, and in a day, even if you don't have the internet set up, they have like a temp internet that it'll tap into and give you coverage. So you can get alerts if somebody breaks in the property. So you got to have your security cameras up. You want to get your floodlights on the front and back. A lot of thieves, they're going to operate in darkness. So you want that light blasted on them if they run up to the property in the middle of the night. Don't go crazy like with guard dogs and all that stuff, because a guard dog is just as likely to chew through your sheetrock or something crazy and trash your property as the thief is. The security camera is the way. You want to have the cops on speed dial. You won't. A lot of you might be like, I don't mess with the police. You'll mess with the police when you have a rental property and somebody's thugging your property out and somebody's jumping in and stealing $5,000 worth of flooring. You'll pick up that phone, you know? So you want to have them on speed dial, because in most major cities, if somebody breaks in and you get the camera alert and you call the cops, they're going to be there in 2-3 minutes. And it takes time. If you get into the mentality, it takes time for somebody to steal items out of your property. Most of these guys will come in, the pros, with a tool set. They got the gloves on. They'll have a hoodie up so you can't see their face, and they'll have a tool set, and they go to work. They will sit in your property. They'll come in right around, I would say around 10 p.m. to 4 or 5 a.m. That's when they're in your property, and they're there to go to work. It's like everybody sleep. They're waking up for work, man. They're going to sit in your property. They're going to take a lunch break, come back if you have no security, and they're just going to start picking you apart. They're going to turn the water off, take your vanity off, take it out, put it in the truck, come back, strip out the copper lines, go, put it away, come back. They might bring a bag with them, so as they're doing it, they're just bagging it up. So if you can call the cops quickly and get them out there to address the issue, you can actually mitigate a lot of the risk, because it takes time to get picked apart. It takes time to have expensive items stolen from you. Nobody can just break in and in 2 minutes, they're out with $10,000 worth of materials. It doesn't work that way. So the speed of your system will protect you. So you have to have that camera system. You can put up things like steel guards, steel doors, steel window guards, and that will protect you as well. You have to be careful with your lock boxes. I've had people send what I would call like a runner down the block. So if you're in a C-class neighborhood, while your guys, so you'll hire contractors, and while your guys are punching in the codes, there'll be people that they'll send young guy, go walk down the street, see if you can pick the code. So they'll be walking down the street, but watching the lockbox, seeing what numbers are being punched. Then they'll go give the information back. They're going to try to pick you apart in the middle of the night with the keys. Or they'll just come with a sledgehammer, bang the lockbox right off the doorknob. Just break it off, open it up, go with the keys, go right in. So the lockbox, depending on how you have that set up, it can be very dangerous. There are some lockboxes that are easier to break into than others. I can break down, which type you should get, but just know that the lockbox could be problematic for you. Your number one protector is not your steel doors and guards, because any door, any window guard, the same way they put it on, some of these guys are sophisticated enough to take those guards off. Only the camera will save you. Only speed will save you from getting damaged. Because if somebody can get by a steel door and they have enough time to pick you apart, they will. The camera prevents that. So if you have any properties, whether they're in your backyard or not, and you don't have your security system tight, you're at risk, man. You're really risking it. So if you don't know all the technical stuff you should get, tap into the 100 Keys Masterclass. Tap into mentorship. Don't make the mistakes. Don't leave yourself exposed. Because you might not get picked off on 1 or 2 deals, 1 or 2 projects. But as you scale up, if you're working on 10 properties, Now your surface area has increased. Now you got 10 exposure points, and the likelihood of you getting hit on one of those points has increased 10x. So it's going to happen. If you scale like I did and you have 100 properties in a neighborhood, it's going to happen to multiple properties. So you have to get to that level. Guys, drop your questions, comments in the chat section, in the comment section. We'll keep answering your questions. I have more questions and that you guys have sent, so I'm going to keep flowing through. I want to find some of the good ones. This is a good one. So, should I leverage a HELOC to do more deals? So this is for my people out there who are in the priced out communities. So you're in California, you're out on the West Coast, you're up in Washington, you're maybe you're in some parts of Texas or Florida, but you're in areas where you bought a property a while ago and it's appreciated substantially. You don't have the capital to really invest in your backyard, but you're looking at your property and saying, well, I have so much equity in this thing. Should I tap into a HELOC? Should I tap into a home equity line of credit and get $200,000-$300,000 of liquidity and then take that money and go invest it out of town? Is that a good idea? Absolutely. Absolutely it can be, especially if you can get that HELOC at the right rate. And if you have a system, maybe like our boots on the ground system, a lot of people in the boots on the ground program are leveraging HELOCs. They'll come in, they'll unlock a HELOC, and then they'll jump into the boots on the ground program. Brian, go find me a deal, please. Build me a house, build me a flip, build me a rental property, but something that fits within the confines of the HELOC. So if you have a $200,000 HELOC, maybe we go find you a property we can buy for 80 grand, put 40,000 renovation into it. Then you can take that to the credit union, refinance out of it, get all of your money back, put it back in your HELOC, keep the rental property. So you could use one HELOC to go and print out through the BRRRR strategy 10, 15, 20 rental properties a year. If you know what you're doing, if you have good systems, a good team, somebody who can build houses for you, or you know how to do it. If you get in 100 Keys Masterclass and you really tap into the VIP mentorship program, I'll teach you how to do it, right? Because I've done it hundreds of times, literally. If you want me to do it for you and you have the capital, and some people are like this, like they have capital, but they don't have time. I'm too busy with the 9 to 5. I'm 50, I got the kids, my spouse is pulling at me. I can't get away. I want to do the real estate, but I don't have the time. Then we had a boots on the ground. We'll build a house for you. And we're pretty much the only people out there that build houses for our mentees. I can't do it for every one of you, but for the ones that are ready, while that program is open, we're building houses for you guys. So the HELOC can be a super tool. And I would say it's a tool that people specifically on the West Coast, where the markets are priced out, but you have all this equity in your property, those people don't use it enough because they don't have an outlet for it. And they don't know, even if they got the HELOC, they don't necessarily know the strategies to leverage it properly. But a HELOC can print out multiple deals per year. It can build you an empire. You can build 50 to 100 properties over the course of time with a HELOC, with the same money going in and out. And why pay the bank when you have your own liquidity, in your own property, when you have that equity? So why go out and get a series of hard money loans and all these different things and have all this stress when you can leverage, your HELOC? So keep that in mind if you have a HELOC. It's a super tool. You definitely want to leverage it correctly. We got another question. Where's the best location for multifamily units? For multifamily, there's not necessarily a best location, but the value of multifamily is that you're getting a lot of cash flow under one roof. You want to buy any of your properties. If you're thinking about buying and holding, you want to buy them in places with low taxes and a low trajectory of tax increases, which you can kind of look at historical data, what the municipality is talking about moving forward. But you want to do your buy and hold activity in places where rents are high, the area is relatively landlord friendly, and taxes are low, because taxes can eat into your cash flow. There are areas where the property taxes on a $300,000 property are $15,000 a year, $16,000 a year. That means even if you paid off the property, you had no mortgage, you still have a mortgage. You're still spending over $1,000 a month in just taxes. And then those taxes keep going up. And you can never get out, right? You can never be comfortable. Versus if I go somewhere like Baltimore, or even on the outskirts of Baltimore or Philly, I might be able to get a same size multi, same cost relatively, with the same or higher rents, and property taxes $2,000-$3,000 a year. So when my property's paid off completely, my out of pocket is a couple $100 a month. You won't even feel it. It just becomes a tax write-off, and your property taxes are a tax write-off. So anybody who says real estate developers don't pay taxes, it's a lie, because you pay property taxes. All real estate investors who buy and hold, or who are developers, even if you're flipping, when you're doing, look at your HUD statement when you're closing on properties, some of those fees are property taxes. And if you don't pay them when you're buying it, because the seller's paying it, when you go to sell it, there's going to be a cost there for the property taxes. There's going to be a per diem, per the days you held the property tax bill. So all real estate investors pay taxes. They just pay different types of taxes. But that's where I would look. Now I know from where I'm looking, these types of areas are all over. There are parts of St. Louis with some of the best quadplexes you could buy for $80,000, 4 units, 3,000 square feet, brick built, strong houses that need what I would call cosmetic interior renovations. Maybe you could put an $80K into them and they'll just cash flow. Reasonable taxes. Certainly the Northeast, Baltimore, Delaware, Philly, South Jersey, not North Jersey, Connecticut, parts of Connecticut. There's a lot of areas in the Northeast, Cleveland's. You have a lot of pockets. So you have to just pay attention to the pockets that are the best and then just go tap into them. But some of this is market research. Some of this is understanding how to evaluate deals, how to think like an appraiser. Kind of all of these things that we break down in the 100 Keys Masterclass, in the mentorship program. Because I obsess over this stuff. I actually love this stuff. Sometimes people ask me, well, why do you do this? Why do you help people? Why do you talk about real estate all the time? Because I love it. What else is there to talk about? Everybody's got to live somewhere. When you learn how to leverage the asset that everyone needs, you're going to make $1 million, guys. And you don't have to be special. I know people who are very unspecial who make that type of money in real estate. Very unspecial, very normal. But it's that business that you can do it in if you apply yourself, if you get the knowledge. You don't even need cash or credit. Name another business you could start. No cash, no credit. And you could pop out $16,000 with no employees, no overhead. You don't even need employees to do that. You could do it by yourself. There's not many businesses you could do that in. There's not. And not for, what risk are you taking in a transaction like this? You're just closing in one day, double close, boom, boom. Big check. And you're helping other people, partners. Transactional funders get paid. And me, because I got a G off this deal. So I got paid too, so I'm happy. So when you come back to me and say, look, I need 5 Gs this time. I got you the G back, didn't I? Then, maybe we work out another deal. But you don't even need cash or credit. You just need the knowledge. And part of finding the best multis is knowledge. Knowing how to do the market research, knowing where to look. I'm looking for all of you guys because we have, people in the mentorship program from all over the country and even outside of the country who want to tap into U.S. real estate. We have the best real estate on the planet, guys. We do in the U.S. So you need to learn how to tap into the best real estate. This real estate is so good that people from outside of the country are trying to tap into it. And they're calling me, Brian, how do I get into the U.S. and invest from out of state, out of country? So people are going to step on your toes. You have to wake up. You got to wake up. Like China last year, they bought billions of dollars, $6-7 billion of U.S. real estate. Brian, what's good? Working on the numbers for a subject to deal. I will catch the replay. Definitely catch this replay. This replay is going to open eyes. And go Google and research transactional funding. Make sure you guys tap into the Facebook group, because we have people who will do transactional deals with you. People who are out of town sitting on money. And you might have a deal in your area and you just need a transactional funder. Network. You don't need the cash or credit. You need the knowledge. You need the network. You need the team. Ace Deuce, thanks for all the knowledge, Brian. Look, we're here to help. You guys just got to stay tapped in. You guys got to stay tapped in. Do you work with property that's being auctioned? Well, definitely. I mean, I bought properties from the auction. A lot of distressed properties are at risk of going to the auction. Sheriff sale, tax liens, tax certs. So you will definitely deal with this stuff when you're dealing with motivated sellers. You know, one play is to find people, and there are people who do this. They'll get the list of the people who are going to have their property up for the auction. There's different ways to get that list. And then they'll go door knocking. Find the people, hey, I can show you how to get your property stayed and off of the list. I know the game. But part of that is we have to make a deal happen. We have to get a contract to sell the property, and they'll stay you for another 90 days. We'll be able to keep you on the property. We'll go find a buyer. We'll get you some money for this deal before the city takes it. And then they are wholesaling that, essentially. They're getting that deal under contract right off the list, right off publicly available lists. And they're just doing the work. They're just door knocking it. I've seen wholesalers get 5-10 deals like this in a month. Just knocking, boom, 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 building relationships. Hey, we're out here, we're helping people in the community, we're going to show you how to do it. And then they'll go down to the courthouse, get the deal stayed, so now it's off the list. And then they have time to work with the seller, because a distressed seller, a motivated seller, is going to sell their property and do business with whoever they like, whoever builds the relationship first. You don't have to be a licensed realtor. You don't have to show up in a suit. You just have to build that relationship. Be personable. So, yeah, you know, you can get this done. We had another question. Do you need all cash for auction property? You do. But here's the interesting part. How a auction will work is you can bring 10% to the table. Typically, how an auction works is the winning bidder puts down 10% and then shows up in 30 days with the other 90. What could you do in 30 days? You could find somebody else to show up with the money and then assign a fee over it and walk away with a profit in 30 days, even off the auction. And if you think people don't do that, you're crazy. This was and is a big business. People go to the auction, they find properties that they know the ARVs are good on, and if they can get them at a certain bid, there's a spread. They put down a deposit. They might have somebody like me who agrees with them, who gives them the deposit money. And then in 30 days, they get that deal on Craigslist. They find a developer. They assign it over for a fee, and they make a profit, even off the auction. Did you know that? Do you think these people have did I say anything about credit or even cash? But is that knowledge? That's knowledge. That knowledge of real estate is money. That's why you don't need to worry about making money in real estate. You need to worry about the knowledge, because once you get the knowledge, the money chases the knowledge. It has nowhere to go but to you. Like I said, wow. Yeah. Wow. But a lot of us haven't seen this stuff. We just don't know it exists, which is why I want to bring some of this to your attention. Now, when you're doing your first one, you're definitely going to need your hand held a bit, because there's a lot of moving pieces. You have to be confident on value. You have to be confident on your spread. You have to be confident on how to go find a developer. You have to be confident on your fees and your structuring and what you can do. So you need to round the bases. That's what, mentorship is for. Rounding the bases. But once you do this once, you can fish forever. This is like also this type of strategy of going to like an auction and doing this type of stuff, which is not even what I was here to talk about today, but great questions lead to what? Great answers. Great questions lead to great answers, which can lead to more money for you. But Yeah, you could go do this stuff. You could go do this stuff. And people are doing it like right now and making good money. And that's all they do. And this is just side work. You could keep working a 9 to 5 and you could do this stuff. You could keep working a 9 to 5 and do this stuff. We said, how do I get into the mentorship? Just DM me. You're in the Facebook group right now. Message me. Leave a comment that says I'm ready on the post for this live, and we'll reach out. I'll reach out personally. So just DM me, message me on Facebook, or just reach out. And that's for anybody who's interested. However you got here, just reach out if you want to talk, and I'll reach out one-on-one. Make sure you're a good fit, and we'll try to get you tapped in. How do you handle auction properties that come with various liens? I actually try to stay away from some of those properties. So there are certain, and we have a video breakout in the 100 Keys Masterclass that talks about lien seniority. And there are certain liens that are junior to other liens. So when you have liens that are junior to other liens, that means that they auction the property on the senior lien, the junior liens get wiped out. So that's why I like buying the tax sale, because the tax sale is a municipal lien. The municipal lien can wipe out a mortgage. It can wipe out everything. So if you go to the municipal auction and you buy those properties versus the mortgage foreclosures, you can actually tap in and make that type of money. But without the fear. Without the fear. Somebody's watching the video right now. Is like, hey, yo, how can I get the replay? Just stay tapping. I'm gonna send you guys the replay, like I always do. I'll send it to you. But just stay tapped in. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe. Leave the comment that says I subscribe, so I can send you instant access to my free training that'll show you how to acquire properties for pennies on the dollar all across the country. You don't want to miss out on that free offer. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to stay tapped into the replays, into the information, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell notification. So every time we drop video, I'm not dropping fillers. I don't have energy for fillers. If I'm dropping something, it's bars. Like we're dropping straight knowledge on this channel. If you want just fillers, guys who are talking nonsense, gossip, drama, go to somebody else's platform. You want to learn about how to change your life with real estate, build cash flow, create longevity for your family and legacy, stay tapped in, but subscribe so you don't miss out. Because you might miss the link I sent. Sometimes the text gets blocked. The email goes to the spam. You don't want to miss out on life-changing info. So like, comment, subscribe. Leave the comment that says I subscribe. And you'll always get that. But that's how I deal with liens. Various liens. I'm always looking at that and I'm thinking like, man, I don't necessarily want to be buying the mortgage foreclosures because the liens, you could buy it and there could be like a second mortgage that didn't show up. And anything that shows up, it's on you. So I like to buy the municipal liens because I know they wiping out everything else. The only thing that doesn't get wiped out is the IRS lien because Uncle Sam's got to get paid. So there are some instances where there could be an IRS lien that was missed. Those are few and farther in between. And you could still get those worked off of the property without paying. You could do like a settlement on a IRS lien. There's also a process where if you had an IRS lien, you could call out an appraiser, get the property appraised, especially if it's in like a shell condition, and then use the low appraisal to get a settlement negotiated and then just get it wiped out. But these are things. This is another reason why I say, if you're going to play this game, you want to tap into mentorship because it's a big boy game. Like, don't go out into real estate. This is a multi-million-dollar game. Some of these properties cost 40, 50,000. Don't go try to play that game and learn from the school of hard knocks, because this is not a little game. You could lose big money. And why do that to yourself? Why start off with a negative experience when you can just start off winning from day one and just making money? So definitely tap into the knowledge and keep that. You will keep that knowledge. We talked last time about portable equity, things you could take with you, knowledge you could take with you. You got to have that portable equity. We got can you double close on an auction? Hypothetically, yes, but not every auction. So it depends on where you're at, because some auctions, like if I go to Baltimore, the auction, I can buy the property off the auction and it's title insurable because of the way that they do the auctions. They're actually going all the way through the foreclosure process, like a 2 years process before it hits the auction. Whereas if I'm at like the sheriff's sale, they've done a process where this property is still redeemable even after I buy it. Therefore, I can't title insure it unless I do a special process, which I have a special process where I can title insure it. We're not going to go all the way into that, but there is a process to do it. So there are properties where you could double close. You could put down the 10%, do the 30 days, go find an M buyer, close on it today, double close it, flip it, make a little money without doing any rehab, no cash, no credit, none of your own money, because you could get the transactional lender to step in and boom, close on the auction property, right? You just need somebody for that deposit. So that's your buddy who has a little bit of money in their 401k or IRA, but they don't know anything about real estate and they don't have time to learn. You have time to learn. You're in the 100 Keys Masterclass. You're getting the knowledge. So you come to them, you talk to them about the numbers, how it's safe, and they become your transactional funding partner. All you got to do is go out and find a deal. So you just snipe the auction, boom, double close them. And you find a developer group, because guess what? In every major city, as long as there's a spread, there's always a developer. You just need to know the cost of construction. You just need to learn the cost of construction. People laugh at that, but like I've had people in the mentorship program, and I'm just like, look, this is what it's going to cost to build. We've had deals like this. Like I go to the seller, I'm like, look, I know you want 110, but it's only worth 80 because it's going to cost 80 to build it. We're in at 160. It's only worth 220, and everybody got to eat. And if I can't make money off it, nobody can, because I know the cost of construction. They put it under contract with somebody for 110 who doesn't know anything about the cost of construction. That person puts it under contract. Then they go around and they get a bid and they're like, wait, it's going to cost 80. I'm not going to make any money. Then they back out of the contract. Then the deal's back on the market. It happens all the time. So I just wait. When I see it, I'm like, you're going to sell it for this price or it's going to end up back on the market, because the cost of construction is the cost of construction. It's not the cost of my construction. It's the cost of construction, period. Unless you have the guy who's stealing materials out of other people's houses and trying to build yours for 50K with stolen materials. The cost of construction and materials is the cost. So once you learn that cost, you can back into spreads and you can structure deals that are profitable for developers. That's how powerful the knowledge is. This is why most wholesalers fail, because they get into a wholesale course and the person who's trying to teach them doesn't build houses. They haven't built 100 houses, yet alone 300. So they don't know the cost of construction. So they're like, oh, well, just take the ARV, which they barely know how to calculate, multiply it by 0.65 and subtract 30K, and that's your... No, that's not how it works. You got to know the individual deal, what you're looking at, what it's going to cost, put together a little scope. All right, cool. Now you could market your deals with a legitimate rehab budget. Hey, this is going to cost you 80. Here's your profit spread. Here's this. You made the deal safe for the developer. They come in, you walk out with the money. It really is what it is. My man Easy E said, don't take swimming lessons from a drowning man. Brian is a real authentic expert in this business. Guys, don't miss this opportunity he's providing us. It's facts. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Just don't miss out on it. Like I said, I know there's gossip channels out there. There's guys who are like, I'm the real estate guy, but you're really the gossip guy. And it's entertaining. It's funny. Sometimes I watch it, but I would never go there to really get knowledge, because these guys are doing gossip. They're selling drama. They're not selling knowledge. They're not really giving you anything of power. You might feel good after watching it, but when you really walk away, you have no value. You walk away the same person. When you walk away from some of this, if you're taking it seriously, you're going to walk away a different person over the course of time, which is why you should subscribe. Don't subscribe to boost my numbers, even though we're closing in on 10,000 subs. And I appreciate every one of the subs. Subscribe for your betterment. You need to mix this content into your process. You need to see some of this every week and keep building yourself. Don't think I'm not there. I'm not going to get there. You're not there yet. Let the information sink in. Take your time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Stop worrying about where you're at. It doesn't matter where you're at. I started off worse than you. I didn't start off with knowledge, all this knowledge and all this stuff. I started off lower than wherever you're at. I worked a year. My first year probably made $6,000 in a year. If you made less than $6,000 in a year, drop it in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? So you can get to this level. You can scale up. It's all knowledge based. As soon as you make the decision to get the knowledge and stop worrying about where you're at, it'll all connect for you. It only takes one deal at a $16,000 commission for you to make that happen. Do you work in commercial real estate? It depends. Like there's multiple levels to commercial. So I'm always in some form of residential. So even if it's commercial, it's multifamily residential, but at a commercial level, 50, 100 units. I'm actually working on a project now to bring, a lot of units to Philly, a lot of units with a developer group. So I'm always working on stuff, but in the commercial space, commercial real estate is getting crushed. Like the office space game, I would say the strip malls are kind of coming back depending on where you're at, but the offices are getting crushed. About 60 to 70% of our small banks in the US have the lion's share of the commercial debt, and they're all on the brink. I don't want to say they're all on the brink of collapse, but that debt is coming due, and when it refinances at the higher rate, a lot of those people are underwater and they have no tenants in their properties. People aren't going back to the office, so there's a collapse that is happening within the commercial space. You will start to see things like zoning, like new types of zoning, where they're taking office buildings and rezoning them for residential high rises because they can't fill them with commercial office tenants. And that real estate is too valuable to sit. So there's going to be lobbying to be able to rezone this stuff into residential to make sense of it. You're going to see stuff like that. It's not happening yet, but give it a year. Boom, it's going to start happening. Because it's the only way to restructure the debt for the banks. They have to restructure the property. And then they can re-lend on it in a profitable way. But some of these commercial buildings, they got asbestos, they got a lot of stuff wrong with them. So they need multi-million-dollar developers to come in and do that stuff. But yeah, dealing with commercial multifamily is very profitable. And in fact, the entire commercial industry from the lending standpoint is looking for more people who can tap in on that end, who are in that multifamily residential, commercial space. So yeah, I'm working on some projects that could be, pretty sizable for Philly, create some affordable housing. Things that I love to do, create affordable housing for people. You gotta want to help yourself. For a lot of us, and I know I talk to you guys, so some of you guys are like, people depend on you and your family. And the best way to make yourself stable is through real estate, is through getting cash flow and passive income and getting this type of knowledge and make yourself stable. And you have to kind of cut out that time and put in that focus to make yourself financially stable. And once you do, you can help your family. You can uplift a lot of people with this real estate. You can create a lot of jobs with this real estate, which is why I believe in it so much. The only way for you to make big money in real estate is to help a lot of other people to make big money, to create a lot of jobs, to create a lot of value for the community, create affordable housing. So just to keep all of that stuff in mind, guys. We got one comment that's kind of funny. Don't crucify me, but would you advise against turnkeys? Turnkeys, for those who know or don't know, is when you buy a property and all you have to do is kind of broom sweep it and hand over the keys to a tenant. Sometimes the tenants are already in it. So all you're doing is buying it, pre-tenanted, and you're trying to structure it in a way where you're just collecting cash flow. Hey, I bought it for $100,000. They got 2 tenants in it. They paying $800 a month each, $1,600 a month coming in. The mortgage is $1,000. So I'm cash flowing $600 a month, and that's turnkey. I don't advise against turnkeys. Turnkeys can be really good when you're just getting started. My first property was turnkey, so it would be hypocritical for me to advise against it. It can be really good, but what I've learned over the years is you really do want to pick your own people as you become better. My tenants, like one person jumped out of the house. It was turnkey on my first deal. One of the tenants was so afraid of dealing with a new landlord that she just left. I re-tenanted that unit in 2 weeks and got like $2,000 cash to just turn it over, just to really hand over the keys. But she jumped. The other tenant stayed for maybe 3 or 4 years. Actually, no, she stayed for 5 years. And she paid late every month with a late fee, $100 late fee every month. And stayed like that for like 5 years. So just extra premium. A lot of us don't know that. But people ask me, Brian, what's your favorite tenant? My favorite tenant, in some ways, is a tenant that pays late and pays the late fee every month, because they just pay you a premium to stay in the same property. You almost can't get mad because it's like, well, you're late every month, but you keep paying a late fee. So I'm just getting more money for the same thing. So that's like the best tenant, almost, oddly enough. But turnkey is really good because when you're just getting started, what you're trying to learn is how to be a landlord. Think about the business. Everybody gets really excited about Property Brothers and running in with, you put on your hard hat and you go bang out a house with a sledgehammer. And you're like, yeah, look at me. Like, I'm building this house with my hands. And that's very clickbaity. But that's not the monetization piece necessarily. The monetization piece is being able to manage it long term. Keep tenants in, keep the lights on, keep the money flowing, keep the rent coming. That's the passive aspect of it. So there's 2 disciplines. There's building and monetizing. So when you go turnkey, you become the landlord. You're actually learning 50% of the business just by being a landlord. You're accelerating past the construction. And then you can work backwards to the construction over time because you've already mastered this component. Don't be so fast to be excited about this construction component. So many people know how to build. They don't know how to monetize. So they fail. Right? Because they're so busy being hype about building. So turnkey can be really good. But over the course of time, you start to fall in love with your process. And part of your process is picking people. Because this business is about picking good tenants and the types of people that you want. Because when you bring a tenant in, you're like adding a person to your family. It's kind of like when I add somebody into the 100 Keys Masterclass, into the VIP mentorship program. Because I'm working one-on-one with you guys in my mentorship program. So you become a part of my family. You have unlimited text and email access with me. I'm getting texts right now from a lot of you guys who are even watching right now. So you become a part of my family. You become a part of my daily life, my focus. Your deals are my focus. Your success is my focus. So I'm selective for that reason of who I bring into my mentorship program. That's how you become with your tenants as well. You become hyper selective because you're like, look, I want somebody who's easy to deal with. I don't want a lot of drama. I don't want a lot of drama. Joe said, before they completely demolish those commercial strip malls, do you see any plays to swoop in on while there's big vacancies? There's definitely plays, but that's a different business. Some of those businesses are scary because the whole world is going like direct to consumer. We've seen, the Amazon rushes, and you have to think, if there's another pandemic, if there's something like that, what's your strip mall going to be? So we've seen the risk of strip malls. Now we're past, the last big one. But what if something else comes in the future? It's also a more expensive game to park big capital in strip malls. When you do that, when you're parking capital in strip malls, you're typically bringing clients in on what they call a triple net lease. The triple net lease, what you need to know about that is the toilet breaks, the sink breaks, don't call me. It's on you. So it's essentially on, the tenant to keep everything maintained. So it can be very passive in that sense. You're putting people on very long leases, 20, 30-year leases with guaranteed rights of renewals. It can be stable money, but it's not a super liquid business. It's very illiquid business. So it's tough to say, like, is there going to be pricing that is favorable? Absolutely. I mean, you're going to be buying pennies on the dollar. Could it be an incredible opportunity? We'll see. I'd have to do more research. I think right now the commercial space is in a massive flux, and there's a lot of risk within that. Usually with a lot of risk comes opportunity. So it's definitely something to look at, keep an eye on. But strip malls could easily just get wiped out in terms of like value. Like they could just get wiped out, where it's just like, hey, people just buying direct to consumer. Think about the next generation coming up below us. How are they going to consume? Because they're growing up in different types of worlds where, they don't really care. They don't really care about all the drama, all the nonsense. They're just like, look, I ordered that thing on my cell phone. They might have like different things, like you'll have like a watch, or you'll have new technology where people just put on their 3D goggles. Oh, I want those clothes. Boom, boom, boom. And they'll just buy it right from their house, and it'll show up at the door. A robot will pull up, deliver their stuff. So then what's your real estate worth? Why would I walk out there when a robot's going to go pick it up and a drone's going to drop it at my door? I don't know what the world's going to look like. I wouldn't be betting on that real estate if it's me. I would bet on the real estate that you're sitting in while you put your 3D goggles on and order the stuff, which is going to be your house, your residential. That's what I'm betting on. Hope that makes sense. But that's how I think about it. So if I really sit back and really think on it, I could probably talk myself out of it, even though there's going to be a premium that you could take advantage of to buy it. So I'm not saying you're wrong, and I could be wrong. Maybe there is no robot in the future, although they're already building robots. There's already drones, and there's already 3D goggles, and there's already metaverses and all that stuff. And it looks like that's where it's headed to me. Said a great answer. It's tough. It's a coin flip. It's a coin flip. But I think it's more likely that the strip malls and all that stuff are going to get kind of phased out in terms of value. And you'll have to build something else there. You'll have to rethink and reimagine some of these spaces to keep them profitable. There will be new types of tenants. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that says I subscribe. Helps the algorithm. Share the video with somebody who will get value. Somebody going to get value from this too. How to invest without cash or credit. No cash, no credit, no nothing. So share the video with somebody that you care about, that you want to be educated. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you get alerted as we drop more content. And we're dropping content every week, multiple times a week. And I'm showing you guys some YouTube shorts with some good songs that are showing some of the work we're doing. Some of the houses we're full gut renovating down to the studs. We're going to blow some roofs off. I got 2 roofs to blow off in June. And we're going to show you that. We're just taking the roof off, building up a level. So we're going to show you that stuff too. It's going to be really exciting. Antonio said, I got a lot of value out of this. If you're getting value out of this, wait until you tap into the 100 Keys Masterclass, into the VIP course content. And you really can sit back and just get the whole game. Focused, dedicated. Because this is all off the top, right? But with that focus and dedication, when we're diving in on these advanced topics and building you up gradually through the course to become an expert investor, you will leave the course as a master investor, better than 90%, 95%, I'll call it, of any investors out there. Be able to crush the competition. That's what this is about. Dane said, are you able to blow off the roof of a duplex and build 2 new units at the top? That's what I'm about to do. I'm going to show you. I'm literally going to show you, though. Like, we're not going to talk about it. I'm going to get the footage, and it's going to be on the Instagram. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. So you're going to watch us take a 2-story, blow the roof off, build up a 3rd story, and then convert to a duplex. and unlock value. And you're going to watch it on multiple deals, because we're doing this all over. You can even take a 2-story, blow the roof off, build up a level, and then put a rooftop deck on top of that. Had a site right out to Center City. Skyline. Unlock value. Think bigger. So we're going to show you guys how to do all this stuff. And we're out doing this stuff. We're not just talking it. We're out doing it right now. And that's why I know the cost of construction, because we're out doing it right now. We're paying. Ace deuce. Okay, so let's say you have a property out of state getting rehab. If you decide to get a tenant buyer that rents to own it for, let's say, a 20-year mortgage, can you still take out equity on the property? Let me read that again. Out of state, getting rehab, if you decide to get a tenant buyer that rents to own it, it depends on how you structure the deal. So it's kind of a funny answer, but the way I was taught is it's all about deal structuring, right? So the things that you would do, think about you, Ace Deuce. Think about yourself. So if you were buying this property rent to own, would you want the seller, essentially, to be able to put more debt on the property while you were renting to own it? Of course not. You wouldn't want them to have the ability to do that, because it would make it like, well, what if they take out this massive mortgage that's more than your strike price on the contract? So now they put $400,000 of debt, and you were going to buy it for $200,000. Now you can't. So they kind of ruined the deal and screwed you out of money. So you would draft the contracts in a way where they weren't allowed to do that. And you would record the contracts, require a notary, require a lot of different things. So you would block this, right? But as the seller to a rent owner, you may not. You may leave that ability for you to do that, not to a malicious level. Like, you would never want to, trust me, you would never want to put somebody in a bad position like that, because that could lead to a massive lawsuit and you getting a book thrown at you. Like, you do not want to be in that position where you're out doing this to people. But you might want to leave open the option for you to go in and refi within the confines of the deal at a rate that was like, well, the property's worth 200 in terms of what they're going to buy it from me for. Maybe I can refinance up to 180 or something. So you might want that ability. So you can structure it, if you're the seller, in a way where you can still do that. But if you were the buyer, you would structure the deal in a way where they weren't allowed to do that. So what you would do as the seller, you wouldn't necessarily allow a seller to do. And this is part of being a master investor and really controlling the knowledge and structuring a deal to the maximum benefit, or structuring the deal for your maximum protection. So hopefully that answers the question. You said I was just curious. Hopefully that answers the question. Not that I'm not saying you were trying to do anything malicious, but I'm just saying there are people out there that do. So they'll structure the contract and then they'll just go double mortgage it and run off with the money and screw over the person. So as a buyer, you would never want to allow that opportunity. As a seller, you might want to allow the opportunity, but just only do it within, the confines of good business. Not do it in a way that allows you to be malicious, essentially, or just not use it maliciously, if that makes sense. So that's what I would say on that. Guys, any more questions, just drop them in the section. I always get this question. Can you explain how the Boots on the Ground program works? So the Boots on the Ground program is where we build houses for our mentees. We find the properties. So we go out, we have our deal analyst, in-house, that is trained to, bird dog deals, run numbers, construction budgets, ARVs, everything I can do, this person is trained to do. So we go out and find deals for our people. We help you to tap in with the different lenders, or if you're using a HELOC, you might be using any type of funding, but we're going to help you to connect with the different lenders. We are going to renovate the property for you, whether that's, cosmetic or full gut renovation or blowing a roof off or whatever it is. We got the architects, the engineers, the plumbers, the electricians, like everybody, right? Property managers, the eviction attorneys, all the resources that we can tap you into and will. And we will help you if you want to flip it, if you want to do tenant placement, property management long-term, and just cash flow. We'll help you to do that. We have people in that program from out of the country. So people who are from out of the country are doing it. People who are from LA, Hawaii, Texas, Carolinas, New York, and like anywhere. And we're building houses. We're doing this for people in Philly right now. It's expanding. It's going to expand to multiple cities. But right now, we're just dominating Philly because it's the 6th largest city in America. The real estate values are just rock solid and going up. It's a great place to buy and hold or flip right now. It's a great market right now. So that's how the boots on the ground program works. It's turnkey, and it's perfect if you have some capital and you want to invest, but you're just busy. You're like, look, I want to learn how to do real estate, but I'd rather learn by getting the knowledge, but also watching you kind of use your teams and experience and leverage for me. That's the boots on the ground program. The VIP mentorship is where we're going to teach you everything. We're going to show you how to tap into your backyard, that market, and get deal flow going and build your own teams and resources and systems and just become a master investor. So there's the done for you and there's the done with you handhold model. And those are the two, ways that I've been working with people to get them out of the rat race, man. That's the goal. Every person I pull out of the rat race is another person that can pull you out. The only way to get out of the rat race is to have somebody kind of drop the knowledge on you that allows you to pull yourself out. There's definitely people that, along the way, whether they were helping me directly, they were serving as that example. I could pick up on their model and that knowledge, and I'm like, man, I can definitely do this if they can do this. So that's those two programs. So if you're interested in either of those programs, a VIP mentorship, reach out. Boots on the ground, reach out. You know how to get a hold of me. What class of neighborhood do the boots on the ground program purchase in? Everywhere from A class to B class. So it depends on what you want to do. A class to C class. So there are some good deals in the C class because in every good neighborhood, there's a bad pocket. In every bad neighborhood, there's a good pocket. So even in the C class, you could be in the best blocks. Like these sections are really strong, even in the C class. Because they're right on the outskirts of the gentrification and all that stuff that's happening. So you can buy in, and in 2 years, your property value will double. So you might want to get in the C class to experience that type of appreciation and go for a ride with the development activity, which is, very easy to do when you have in-house kind of market knowledge. But there's also deals in the A class. You might want to flip something, go into the A class, go into the B plus class, and just buy something in a great neighborhood that's distressed and renovate it and flip it. So we're doing it all over. We're not just parking in the C class. Hey, let's get some Roach Motel cribs, and we're not just in the A class because sometimes the spreads are not as good. So it's about finding the best deals, no matter what class neighborhood you're in, finding the best, most profitable deals, which is why you need the systems that I have, like having a deal analyst, having somebody that while I'm talking to you guys, while I'm doing a one-on-one call, helping you guys to fine tune your skills, my deal analyst is bird dogging deals now constantly. So having that allows us to get to the next level. It allows us to find you the best deals. And that's the goal. But that's a good question. So all classes. And it's really about your criteria. If you want massive cash flow, go get a 4-bed, 2-bath in the C plus neighborhood. And that thing's going to crank out cash. The taxes are going to be low. It's right where you want to be. You might want to flip and go to the A. Go to the B. So it just depends on what you want to do. It just depends on what you want to do, how much money you want to make, what your goal is. Some people invest from out of town in a place like Philly. So they might live in California, they're investing in Philly, and they're like, I don't want to be locked in yet, Brian. Like, I just want to, can we just flip something? Can we get like something for 150? We put 60 into it. It sells for like 300. Yeah, we could do that, because I don't want to be locked in as a landlord out of town yet. I just want to do a flip first. Then if I like it and the money's coming in, I'll park some of the capital and buy and hold. Maybe we'll get a duplex, whatever. I mean, to me, it's the same process. Building houses is building houses. It's building houses, right? So it's the same process. It's just a matter of your goal. And that's why real estate is so powerful, because you can design it around you. You design it around you. Who are you? What are you looking for? Let's design the real estate to meet the criteria. How much you need to get out the 9 to 5? 50K? We can flip one deal and make 50K. So are you ready? If you're ready, let's get it. Here's the way. Boots on the ground. Boom. We'll get it done for you. Yeah, 100K. We'll flip 2 deals, or we'll flip one big one. You're not really trying to do that. You just want to build up passive income so that when you're retiring, you can kind of step out into another stream of income. Okay, let's do that. I'll show you what that is. So it's just all about kind of getting it done. Do you have to be in a masterclass mentee to participate in the boots on the ground? You don't. Some people jump straight into boots on the ground. But even if you jump straight into boots on the ground, I give you the 100 Keys Masterclass course content, because while I'm building the house for you, it's always that same education process. The more you know, the better off you are. So I want to do it for you, but still give you the education so that you know what's happening. And it's almost like the ultimate course at that point. If you're in the boots on the ground, you had 100 Keys Masterclass course content, and we're building the house for you, doing everything you're watching in the 100 Keys Masterclass. It's the ultimate education. And you leave it with a deal that we built for you with contractors that we built hundreds of houses with. So you don't have to. Sometimes people jump straight in, but I still give them, what the VIP mentees would have. But a lot of people, I will say, will join the VIP mentorship program and start to get their feet wet, start going out and do it themselves. And at some point, they will decide, hey, maybe it makes sense for me to upgrade into that boots on the ground thing. And we're here. But what I will say about boots on the ground, I'm actually going to have to close the door on it soon, unfortunately, because we've had so much demand for that program that we don't have infinite capacity, right? Like, you can imagine, I can't build houses for everyone. Like, I have to close the door on some people, unfortunately. It's not something I like to do, but we're building up. We're going to have to build up a bit of a wait list. We're not there yet, but in a few more, I would say like a few more weeks or so, we're kind of there. So it's something, the boots on the ground is something where we want to keep the quality really high and the focus really high on the people that are in. We have one of our boots on the ground members closing on his 8th or 9th deal. So he's like scaling. And as people are having success and scaling up to doing multiple deals per year, there's less capacity for new people. So it's something that for the people who, I've had a lot of people who've been, interested in contacting, and, it's kind of at that point where it's like you get in or you're going to sit out. And we kind of have like that sports philosophy where it's like, if you get in the game and you dribble the ball off your foot, you got to sit on the bench and you got to wait for somebody else to like make a mistake and get subbed out of the game. So you're going to have to wait for other investors to tap out, maybe on capital. And they're like, well, I got to wait 6 months, stack up some more money. I'll be back in and open up a spot for you. So that's that. But good questions. Do you recommend having professional property management for out of town investors? Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you're just getting started. We talk a lot about that in the 100 Keys Masterclass. Having out of town professional property management is a major key. And most people don't do it, and they do it wrong. They think, I'm going to manage it myself, and then I'll bring in the property management. No, you bring in the property management, and then you scale to a level where you can hire a virtual assistant and manage it yourself. That's what you do. Kevin said, how many students have you had that actually flip the prop? We have people doing it right now. Like I don't like to like throw a lot of people's business out there, but we have people doing it right now, man. If you want to talk about it, reach out. But we have people doing it right now. We're looking at, and a $50,000 flip is not, it's not that crazy. Like, especially in Philly, like if you look at the average profit on flips, the average profit is probably more like nationally in like the 97,000 range, or so. But that's an average of some higher deals and some lower deals. But you could do it. A $30,000 to $50,000 flip you can do consistently. You don't even have to take a ton of risk. It could be as simple as, let's say there was a property that had an ARV of 210,000, which is not that crazy. Not in a place like Philly. You buy it for 65, 70,000. You put in 50,000 in renovations. You're in at 130. You got to sell it for 180 or more to cover the closing costs and everything. But it's not that crazy. And it's also not something you have to do on every deal. Let's say you did 3 flips. 2 of them hit for 50, 1 of them flopped and only did 5K. Who cares? Don't be short-sighted in real estate. Don't be short-sighted in real estate. A lot of us, we want one deal to do everything. We put too much pressure on one deal. In real estate, some deals go smooth and perfectly. Some deals, you pull back a wall and a brick wall is like, man, this thing's got to be re-bricked. This thing's trashed. And maybe the deal doesn't produce the way you want that deal to produce. And if you put too much pressure on that deal, now you're going to talk yourself out of the game. Oh, I tried it. They didn't. No, that deal had an issue. When you get the next deal and you pull back the wall and it doesn't, and it executes perfectly and you make 100,000, you don't care about the deal that was going to make 100,000 and it only made 30. It doesn't matter. You got to play the long term. It's easy for me to play the long term because I don't want to do anything else. I don't care. I'm going to keep doing real estate until they put me in the ground. Like, because I just love it, right? So to me, it's all a long game. It's all just the next deal. The next deal. Cool. That's the deal. Yeah. Let's get more. Let's keep going. Keep running. It's not even counting the money on it. It's just like, keep running. Activity breeds profit. Keep going. So you don't have to worry about just one. You just have to get started, get some deals under your belt. Make some profits. Big profits, little profits don't matter. You could even in real estate lose on one deal, win so big on the next deal it covers the loss, and you still made profit. If you stopped on the loss, Dame Dash says, I only lose when I stop. You only lose when you quit. If you keep playing, you're going to win. The game's only over when I win. So even if I take a loss, I keep playing until I win. That's his mentality. And it's very applicable to something like real estate, where it's like, yo, it ain't over. It's only over when I win. And you just keep going. But we do have people flipping these, properties right now. And I flip properties for 30, 50K. It's not that difficult to execute on. It's really just finding the distressed seller and getting it at the right price. It's more of a math and numbers game. Heck, we've had people in the VIP program, in the boots on the ground, get deals where we run the numbers and we're like, the ARV is 310, and then the appraisal comes in and the appraisal comes in at 330. I'm like, wow, it's 20K pop. Wasn't even expecting that. Anything can happen in this game. You just have to play to win. So keep playing this game, man. There's nothing more rewarding than real estate. There's nothing more rewarding than real estate, guys. Said, I'm a 21-year-old and my goal is to leave the 9-to-5 ASAP. Where do I start? I would say knowledge of real estate. I was talking to somebody recently, and I think they just joined a mentorship program, or they were thinking about it, but they did end up joining. And I was like, listen, I saved money for 2 years before I bought my first property. They were asking me, I don't think they joined, but they were asking me, should I save money, or should I get this knowledge? Like, how do I know when I'm ready, or how do I make this happen? And I told them, well, you need to get the knowledge before the money. Was the long and short of it. You need to get the knowledge before the money. He said, why? I said, well, look, before my money hit, because I was broke. I made $6,000 my first year working. So I was living at home, house I grew up in with my parents, in the bedroom I grew up in, saving as much as possible, grinding, working all the time, trying to figure it out. When I studied the real estate game, looking at properties, doing all this stuff for 2 years while I was stacking up the money. As soon as the money hit, I closed one big commission. I had a property in 30 days because of the work I had done, because I had built the knowledge. I didn't have the 100 Keys masterclass. I didn't have somebody just spoon feed me all the knowledge from over a decade's worth of game and hundreds and hundreds of deals worth of experience. I was trying to figure this thing out by myself, really, with a buddy of mine. But once the money hit, because I had done so much work on the knowledge, the deal was right there. But if you wait for the money to hit, the money going to hit, and you're not going to have any knowledge. So you're not going to be able to get a deal. You're just going to be another guy sitting there with 15 grand stuck in the 9 to 5. And then somebody's going to come along with a get rich quick and take that money from you. Hey, you put that 15 grand in this investment platform. We trade crypto. You'll get 2% returns every week, and then your money's gone. So I would tap into knowledge ASAP. The more you learn, actually, the easier it's going to be to save, because you're going to be more excited about it. You're going to be more excited about, whoa, once I hit 15,000, that means I can do this and this, and that money's going to pop up way faster, because you're going to be thinking about it, and it's going to materialize. You're going to be obsessing over it. Or you don't even need the money, because you just need the knowledge, and then you go to get with somebody who has the knowledge. Who has the money, who can fund a deal that can get you a big commission. So you don't even need it. Like, you don't need the money. So if your goal is to leave the 9 to 5 ASAP, if you get into real estate, you'll be retired before you hit, if you're 21. Heck, I got into real estate. I bought my first property at 27. When I first turned, like on my birthday. I was retired from the 9 to 5 at age 30. So, and that was without real mentorship or anything. So at 21, you could be out at really with the knowledge and everything in a masterclass, like 23, 24, if you're doing the right things. Because you don't have, at that age, it's like, it's funny because you don't have the distractions, but you do. Because you're so young, like, you could still desire to go out to the club and to do this and to do that. So you're distracted by that. But you might not have like the kids and the big bills and I remember I used to work with a guy. My guy, his name is Bill. If he watches this, he knows. And he always used to tell us, when me and my guys, we were in our early 20s. We said, man, Bill, you make so much money. You're doing so great. He's like, yeah, but I got big bills. He had three kids, the wife, the big house. I got big bills, bro. This money ain't going as far as you guys think. Because we were so young, we didn't have any responsibilities. We didn't have anything to do with our money but invest it. So you're blessed, and you have infinite energy at 21. You could work 18 hours a day, take a nap, wake up, do it again. You can't do that with 2 kids at 35 and a 9 to 5. So the faster you put away the distractions and you start to tap into knowledge and just block everything out, that's the faster you get out of the 9 to 5. So there is a straight line out, and it's real estate and knowledge and focus and taking advantage of the natural gifts you have, which is time and energy, applying it the right way. Thank you. It's nice to see someone who loves this stuff and is willing to share the knowledge. Definitely. I'm here to share the knowledge. I don't think anybody gives out this much game. There's guys who don't give out this much game as this live in their whole course. Like, you could tap into their course and they won't give out the game of this live, which is crazy to me. It's a crime, but it is what it is. Finding Sharon, finding a motivated seller, that part. What's your best strategy? Don't you try to find a motivated seller. Let the algorithm do it. Let social media do it. I want somebody's grandma to be scrolling down the newsfeed, looking at pictures of their grandkids, and then they see my sign. Brian buys houses, any condition, as is. Don't have to clean it. Don't have to do nothing. No inspections. Fast cash. And then the kid's walking down the street, eating a bag of potato chips, balls it up, throws it in the front lawn. And she's like, I'm out of here. Freaking fills out a lead. We reach out. Hey, we want to give you a nice offer. What you going to sell for? And I already know the ARV. And I already know what it costs to develop it because I'm a developer. So the best strategy is actually to let the algorithm do it. But there are guerrilla, so to set up a social media campaign. And we have people, if you're in the 100 Keys Masterclass, we have virtual assistants that can set that all up for you. Because trust me, it's not that you couldn't do it, but you almost need to take another course just to learn how to deal with all of that stuff. And really deal with setting up ads campaigns. Like, it's a whole nother skill set. And it's not a real estate skill set. It could be a waste of time when I have a virtual assistant that will set it up for you in 4 days for peanuts. So, you know, we set up several campaigns, but there's also guerrilla marketing things like bandit signs and, you know, that type of stuff that are highly effective. Highly effective. So there's a bunch of strategies, but I would say the best is letting the algorithm, letting AI go out and find the people at their highest point where they're motivated. That's the highest point of motivation. And you're originating leads. I like originating those people versus like going to some of the lists, even on PropStream or some of that stuff that some of you have learned, because everybody has that list. Big facts. Big facts. Kay said, how do I get in? Like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment. However you got here, you probably got here from a text or an email. Text me back, email me back. Hey, Brian, I want to talk about, you know, mentorship or the boots on the ground, or I got to get this thing rolling. I want to get started. Reach out. We'll talk one-on-one. We'll try to get you, you know, tapped into this thing. Sharon said, true. It's true. Oh, it's damn true. Peter said, thanks, Brian. Peter's in. But reach out. However you guys got here, if you're interested in the mentorship, just reach out. Make sure you subscribe, though, so that you can stay tapped in and hit the bell notification. Because, like I said, I might not catch you with the text. It might get blocked. It might get jammed. The email might go to spam. And then you're going to miss out on the game-changing amount of information. I'm not going to chase you down to give you the game. I'm here to give you the game. Stay tapped in. Stay tuned in. Hopefully, this helped you guys. We're coming up on an hour and a half, so I got to stop it. But we'll be back. Brian Grimes, your real estate mentor, signing off. You guys have a good night. We're probably not going to do a session on Monday for Memorial Day. I want you guys spending time with your friends, family. I'll probably be on the grill, and we'll just keep dropping content for you guys. I'll drop a special video for you guys. Stay tapped in. I'll see you guys on the next one.